So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 5 of season 2 here on this F1 Manager 23 career mode. We have had an update on the game this week, so it'll be interesting to see what tweaks that makes to things, but let's get into it. And we've got to start with some disappointing news. We've had a fire at the design centre, which has paused all our research projects for around 11 days, because that's just what we need at this moment in time when we're trying to get this car as competitive as we possibly can. But never mind that, because this weekend we go to Miami. We know how big it is in real life and how glam and how brash it is, shall we say. 57 laps around here. Circuit record is held by Max Verstappen, a 1:31.3. The expected strategy is a one-stop or a two-stop can be applicable. Also, car attributes, top speed and acceleration. We aren't the best at that, but I'm hoping we can pick up some points. If you didn't watch the last episode, just to refresh you, in Baku, Esteban Ocon did get P9. Pierre Gasly got P11 after a difficult moment, but started very, very well. So we are keeping in touch with the guys in front. What does it mean standings-wise? It means that for the constructors, Red Bull are on 171 points. Aston Martin in second on 128. They look really racy this season. We are in 5th at the moment. Andretti Cadillac with 13 points. Drivers standings wise, Max Verstappen is back in the lead above Checo Perez now. He's on 87 points. He's Max. Pierre Gasly is our lead driver, and Esteban Ocon is on 3 points as well. So both cars scoring points at the minute. We are managing the engines a little bit better this year, but like I said, the Aston Martin's looking particularly punchy at this moment in time. I'm going to now get through practice, and I will see you in qualifying in Miami for the Miami Grand Prix.
There's tension in the air today, so it must be time for qualifying.
The Miami International Autodrome has some lovely long straights, but a driver still needs to have total trust in their car setup to get a fast qualifying lap. Turns 14 and 15 in particular are the ones that catch the drivers out in qualifying.
Esteban Ocon there, Karun. What's the feeling around him at the moment?
I'll say this, it's always a pleasure seeing a confident driver take to the track. Being in the right frame of mind is a real advantage.
Stay with us as we see who can deliver on motorsport's biggest stage.
We cut back early. Huge news in Q1. Max Verstappen is out of qualifying. He got the timing wrong on the soft compounder tyre, and he is out in qualifying. My word, 18 for Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll in P16. We qualified well. We got the change over to the soft tyre just about right. P6 and P7 onto Q2. We're going to show you this end of this lap, because this is going to be really the only decent run we get in Q3. But both our cars safely through to Q3. Ocon going into P1, but only briefly. They're second behind Checo Perez. Gasly out qualifies Ocon by a 1/10 of a second, rather interestingly. But as we can see, if we just have a look at the weather radar, we can see the track is going to get damp. There's going to be rain all weekend. It's going to make for changeable conditions on Sunday. We have qualified ahead of Hamilton and Bottas. Alonso jumps as we just fast forward on. I think it's going to be P7 and P8 for our guys as we see the rain starting to come down. That's not too disappointing at all. We can be racy with a couple of the cars around us, and I think this is now set for the rest of qualifying, but a decent performance from both our cars in qualifying here in Miami. And that was it, guys. Checo Perez on pole position for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Sainz in P2, Russell in P3, P7, P8 for our guys. Like I said, we have got a lot of rain on Sunday in Miami, and we've been known to not be the best with strategy when the rain comes. So let's get to the strategy screen now. I want to err on the side of the intermediates if I can. Right then, guys, strategy time. Now, if we have a look at the top, we're expecting the rain around lap sort of 14, 15. So it makes sense to start on the soft compound tyre. Absolutely go for it. I then think it's going to get to intermediates around here, and then it depends how bad this rain is. I don't like these races. Our weather centre isn't as upgraded as it possibly could be. We are wary of the cost caps. So really, this screen means nothing. We start on the softs. We're under-fueling the car a little bit, and we're just going to go for it. Remember, we've got Max Verstappen wanting to work his way through at the back of the pack. Let's see what we can do. P7 and P8. Let's get to 5 red lights.
57 laps await our competitors here in Miami, so may the best driver win. We look now to Esteban Ocon, who's clearly ready and raring to go.
An encouraging grid position as they sit in P8. Lots to build on during the race if they manage it well.
And it looks like we're good to go. And this is it, the Miami Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And straight away, looking at the tyre selection, Sainz, Russell, Leclerc and Norris all on hard compound tyres. Wowzers, that's interesting, as if nearly a crash there early doors. It was Lewis Hamilton on the softs, I believe, who was trying to make a move, didn't quite manage to do it, but straight away Esteban Ocon and Gasly are away in formation, and Pierre Gasly is going to be wanting to attack Lando Norris as quickly as he possibly can here. And if we just have a little look while all this is happening at the track details, there's going to be an inters period, then there's possibly going to be a wet period as well. It's going to be a very, very interesting race, this one. But straight away, we are on board with Pierre Gasly looking to attack the McLaren of Lando Norris. So remember, he's on the hard compound tyres. It possibly would be worth trying to get him now before he slows us down and drops out of the DRS of Fernando Alonso. So straight away, the pressure is on our guys to start attacking these cars in front. But Perez leads away from Russell. Then comes Sainz, Leclerc, Alonso, Norris, Gasly and Ocon. We've managed to stave off the attack of Hamilton. There's battles going off towards the back here as we see the two Audi cars of Bottas and Schumacher running in formation. And Pierre Gasly can't quite at this moment get on the back of Lando Norris as we just drop it down to standard just to make sure that we're okay on the tyres. But yeah, we're trying to get past Lando as quickly as we possibly can. Get past Lando, he does. Pierre Gasly up into P6, using the ERS down the inside. Beautiful move. Lando Norris didn't really fight it. And that is Pierre Gasly up into P6. And not only that, he's now in the DRS of Fernando Alonso, which can only help him on his way. The next one to get past has got to be Esteban Ocon. Will he go for a move here? He won't. But he needs to clear Norris as quickly as possible. And Esteban Ocon is past Lando Norris, managing to do it in towards the final sector. Left-hand side, got the job done. And Esteban Ocon is up into P7, managing to hold off the attack of Lando, trying to get that position back. Gasly's lost the RS on Alonso, which is a little bit frustrating. But Esteban Ocon, we've burnt the ERS. Don't get me wrong, we've really burnt the ERS. Pierre Gasly actually has got the DRS on Fernando Alonso, so that's an interesting little thing, as we've got Alonso and Leclerc fighting in front. Perez is running away with this at the moment. Gap is 2 seconds to Russell, but Gasly doing his absolute utmost to try and keep on with Alonso and Leclerc. He's pushing, he's getting that DRS, as is Esteban Ocon, and these two fighting in front is keeping us in the fight. Esteban Ocon now needs to try and tag onto the back of his teammate at least, but Gasly has looked the quicker all weekend so far. Lap 4, it's 6th and 7th for the Andretti boys. Verstappen only in P17. You know, there's times this season I've just enjoyed watching my drivers, and this is one of them, because Pierre Gasly round the outside of Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Lovely work from him. He followed Fernando through, and you can see we've got this little train of cars now. And Gasly has got the DRS on Fernando once again, so great work from him. In fact, as we look at them, they are side by side at this moment in time. And Esteban Ocon is loving this as well, because this is protecting him from the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, as Gasly just settled back in behind Fernando Alonso. The Andretti cars and the Cadillac at their home Grand Prix here. Loving life at this moment in time. We are keeping pace with Alonso. If we get the swap on to the inters right, it could be absolutely crucial. And of course, we've got to monitor that. We are keeping a strong eye on what is happening here. We're expecting there to be a long intermediate period before it possibly goes to wets, but we've got to get the strategy absolutely spot on as we see Pierre Gasly going for the move on Fernando Alonso on the soft compound tyre. Is he going to manage to get this job done? He isn't. Fernando defends it well, but Gasly getting a little bit frustrated behind the Spaniard because he feels he's got the pace. And to be fair to Gasly, he can see the cars in front. He can see Russell, Sainz and Perez up the road. Is he going to be able here to get a move done? Gasly has got DRS. Fernando Alonso hasn't. down this long straight. He's gaining. Is he going to go to the outside? He isn't. Fernando holds him off. Ocon having a go at Leclerc. My word, are our guys doing well here. Esteban Ocon does get past Charles Leclerc. Fantastic work from him. He's up into P6. Gasly's in P5. One of them is going to have to go a lap longer, though, at this moment when the rain comes. So very crucial, this decision we've got to make. Perez still leading, but it's Sainz, Russell, Alonso, Gasly and Ocon all fighting for the top 10. Verstappen is making his way through very well indeed. He's up into P13 now and stuck behind the Audi of Mick Schumacher, and I don't think he'll be stuck behind that for very long. The call has been made. Esteban Ocon has managed to get in front of Pierre Gasly, so he is going to get preference on the strategy, and Esteban Ocon is going to be going onto the intermediate tyres by the end of this lap. Pierre Gasly's got to come in next. I don't think it is worth the double stack at this moment in time, as Ocon really gets stuck into Fernando Alonso there. But as we come round these final few corners, we're hoping that the track's just going to stay dry long enough to let Pierre come in after. The optimal pit lap is definitely this lap, but it could all go to pot if we decide to pit both cars here. So lap 11, Ocon will be coming in very shortly. And in comes Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly is now going to be told to absolutely go for it. But let's have a look at the pit stop for Esteban. In he comes for the pits. It's very busy in this pit lane, and in he comes onto the intermediate tyres. We're not had a look at what everybody else is on. He gets held. He's massively held his Esteban Ocon in the pit lane, and this is absolutely gutting. Look at the state of that. Esteban Ocon has been absolutely done there. That is shocking. We got held in the pit lane like you've never seen, and Ocon is going to lose so many positions. Pierre Gasly still trundling round, but maybe the call to put him in later might have worked. Hamilton already up the road. Ocon in P12, and we have lost positions, however. And look at that, Verstappen gaining. How much has Verstappen gained? Gasly was one of the only ones to stop at, but hopefully, because of the time people lost, he may be able to possibly get out better than Ocon. But that has absolutely killed us. He's trundling around at the moment. He's doing everything he can. Whereabouts is he on circuit? He's got a couple more straights, and then he's going to be into the pit lane. Disappointing. We'll come back when Pierre's in the pit stop. And in comes Pierre Gasly. Esteban Ocon is trying to fire these tyres up at this moment in time. We're just going to stick him on attack for the moment, but let's have a little look at where Pierre comes out. I'm a little bit nervous that we have lost a lot of positions here through no fault of his own. If we'd have double stacked, my word, it would have been the worst situation ever. As Gasly comes tumbling down, we see Max Verstappen in P6. Gasly coming out of the pit lane now. Verstappen's past him. Will Lance Stroll get past him? As Gasly comes out of the pits, he comes out in front of Lance Stroll. He's in P6. Is Pierre Gasly, and he's now trying to fire these tyres up as well. Esteban's finally got him sorted out. So as we resume, Perez maintains the lead. Gasly in P6 from Verstappen. Stroll behind him. Ocon down in P12. He must be absolutely fuming, Esteban Ocon. Lap 20. Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly have been going at it for quite a while. And Lance Stroll has got a much quicker Aston Martin than our Andretti. Chucks it down the inside into the left-hander. And by the time he comes around the following corner, he's got the job done. Lance Stroll up into P6 at this moment in time. As we just flick back to the live view, we can see Gasly just sitting in behind him now. I'm not too concerned about this. It's a gap to Zhou I'm interested in. Ocon, hopefully, we're looking at the track now. This is going to carry on for a while. It's when do we go onto the wet tyres? And do we go onto the wet tyres? That's going to be the key part of all this. I would suggest that that is possibly just about wets, but we will have to see when the monsoon conditions come. But at the moment, we're tottering along nicely on intermediate tyres. Gasly in 7th, but he can now hold this gap to the Williams in P8. Esteban Ocon has been stuck behind Tsunoda in the Hugo Boss car for quite a while now, and he's managed to get the job done into that left-hander. Lovely work from Esteban. Up into P11. He's got Lewis Hamilton a little bit further up the road as well. The good thing about this now is we have got time to pit both cars. He's had to use a bit of his battery as well as Esteban to get past Yuki Tsunoda. But yeah, we will be able to pit both cars on the optimal lap now. We're watching at the moment the gap to Leclerc. It's not dropping by tons. I would expect the Ferrari to be doing a lot better than it is, but he appears to be on a U-set some inters, or their tyres are wearing quicker than ours. Again, this Andretti car is kind on its tyres, just as the Alpine was last year. So whatever our design team do in relation to the tyres, it works rather well. It worked for the Pirelli, and it's worked well on the Bridgestone. We'll have a quick rundown on lap 30. Perez is leading from Russell. Verstappen has come all the way from P18 back to the front. My word, Max Verstappen. Alonso P4, Sainz P5, then comes Stroll in P6, Gasly in the Andretti in P7, then Leclerc, Hamilton, and Zhou Guanyu. Ocon, 7 seconds is the gap between him and Zhou Guanyu. So getting this next pit stop right is going to be absolutely crucial. Quick update on lap 33. We have got some cars already into the pits, onto the wet compounded tyre. Russell is one of them. It's not time just yet, but it's going to be very, very shortly. We'll come back when we're in for the pit stops. And Pierre Gasly is in to the pits. We are coming in. We're copying Perez. We're copying Russell. We reckon now is the time to get him in and get onto these wet compounded tyre. There is going to be a downpour in a minute, and it could be very, very substantial. We're onto the wet tyres. It's a decent stop. It's 2.8 seconds. And now in comes Esteban Ocon as well. Leclerc is into the pits, so we've covered off the Ferraris. We may even get a little bit of delay on this Ferrari here if Esteban Ocon plays this right. No, we haven't. Leclerc is back out. Gasly out onto the wet tyres. And where are we? Here we are. Esteban Ocon. It's a bad stop. It's a terrible stop for Esteban Ocon. 4.6 seconds. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. Pushing on the tyres on the exit now. There's a few on wets. There's a few on inters. We saw the pit stop. We didn't need to see it again. Pierre Gasly is out. Is he out in a bit of clean air? He is. But Esteban Ocon now coming out onto the into it. We've covered off Lando Norris, which is very crucial indeed. And Esteban Ocon will be happy to be back out in front of that McLaren. We can push on the fuel on both cars now and get going again. Lap 34, Verstappen is now in. All the pit stops have been made. Pierre Gasly is still in P7. We can see Esteban Ocon, he's got a gap to Zhou Guanyu of 4 seconds. That pit stop has absolutely killed Esteban Ocon's progress today. He's having to do a little bit more work now to try and get back up with him. But Gasly at the moment has got a 7.5 second gap to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. We're expecting this. He's now in for the rest of the race. So barring safety cars, Gasly just needs to calm his tyres down a little bit. They are a little bit hot at this moment in time, is Pierre Gasly. So we're just trying to manage the tyres. But the Red Bulls are both in a huge fight here. And Max Verstappen is possibly in pole position to win this race from the back of the grid. Unbelievable. You join us back on lap 45, where the track conditions have just changed to damp. Now, we are watching the front guys here to see if there is anybody coming in. Russell, Perez, Verstappen all go on for another lap. I'm looking at our weather forecast. It looks like it possibly may be damp for the rest of this Grand Prix. If that is the case, it may be worth going to winter. So decisions to be made very, very shortly. We are taking the gamble with Esteban Ocon. We're coming in onto the intermediate compound. Pierre Gasly, I'm choosing to let him stay out purely because we're in P8. We've got 8 seconds to Hamilton. And I'm hoping that he can make these tyres work. Esteban Ocon, it's a decent stop for him this time round. We can see the tyres now starting to overheat a little bit. So we've got to manage that. We're expecting a little bit more rain, but this is really going to be the indication. Is it worth bringing him in? Esteban Ocon now, 2.5 seconds the gap. Out onto the track he comes, onto the intermediate tyres. Let's see what he can do here. Get these up to speed. We're just going to mirror what other people do with Pierre Gasly because we don't think it's necessary to take an unnecessary risk with 10 laps to go. Perez is still leading, but everybody on the circuit is on wets apart from Ocon. 3 laps to go. It's not quite worked for Esteban Ocon. His pace now, it must be said, his pace now is much better than a few cars around him, but it's not been a massive difference. We can see how hot these tyres are getting on the cars at the front, but Gasly's managing to just about hang on to it. We are telling him to conserve, to do everything he can to not just wrecked these tyres. He's got 3 laps to go to get to the end. Ocon's in a very different position. He can attack on these tyres now. So it's a very different race for these two. But maybe the correct decision was to stay where we were with Esteban. But we had to try something. I'm not regretting that. The only thing I'm hoping is that Pierre can score good points today, which at the moment he may be able to do. And the tyres are starting to come into their own, as we can see Esteban Ocon overtaking Kevin Magnussen. With this race that had been 5 laps longer, Esteban may have been in a very, very different position indeed. But he's up into P16. Here's Esteban. Not the best race for him. That pit stop early doors killed him. He's still pushing on the fuel, it must be said. But yeah, doing his absolute utmost. I don't know if we just have a flick back. He's got a few cars in front of him. One of which is the Audi of Mick Schumacher, which is now making his way past with a couple of laps to go. He may pick up a couple more positions here, Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly just hanging on to these tyres. At the front, by the way, Max Verstappen is winning, and he started P18 on the grid. How on earth has he managed to do that? We'll have a look at this overtake on Schumacher on the Audi. Up into P15 now, Esteban Ocon. It's got to be said, I'm very glad we didn't bring Pierre Gasly in to the pits, as he's now got a Gulf Williams in front of him. Esteban Ocon of Albon. In fact, he's already passed Albon, and now he's looking at the back of Lando Norris. He's pushing on a big style here. Pierre Gasly, last lap of the race. Gasly's still in P8. We're going to keep an eye, I think, on... If we just come and have a look, Gasly, he's got a little bit way to go. But we'll come back if Ocon makes any more moves, which he's looking like he will. Esteban Ocon, he's making moves left, right and centre on these tyres now. He's passed Lando Norris. He's got another Haas in front of him. I think that's the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, I believe that is. It were a great work from him there. Let's have a little look as we flick back to the live view. He's got Hülkenberg and Tsunoda. He's practically back to where he's before he came onto these tyres. Ocon, look at this. It's beautiful work, as he's now going to get back up into P12. It was worth the risk with Esteban. Maybe a couple of laps earlier. Who knows where he could have been. But he's been deploying. He's been really going for it as Esteban. He's back up into P12. And I don't know if he's been lapped, which this may be the crossing the checkered flag for Esteban Ocon. Let's just have a quick look at this. Is it? No, it's not. He's still got another bit to go. Pierre Gasly has managed these tyres absolutely beautifully, by the way. The cars in front are struggling like hell, but Gasly has managed this absolutely beautifully. And as we see, where is he on the map? He's got a little bit further to go. Where is Ocon? Ocon now overtaking Tsunoda. What a way to do it, Esteban Ocon. He's got 6 seconds to Zhou Guanyu. That's going to be his lot, Esteban Ocon. We see Max Verstappen at the top. He's finished the race. He's won here in Miami. Stroll, Leclerc and Gasly yet to cross the line, but Esteban Ocon, my word, enjoy that, as we'll come back when Gasly is just about to cross the line. And cross the line he does. Gasly, P8, it's more points for Andretti. We beat the Mercedes, we beat a Williams, so nearly beat a Ferrari. Esteban Ocon took about 4 seconds out of Zhou Guanyu on that final lap. Unbelievable driving. I'm just wishing I'd have given him a couple of moments earlier. A couple of laps earlier to give him those tyres, and he may have been able to get Zhou Guanyu. It was risk averse with Gasly. It was go for the risk with Ocon, and it's going to be points for Gasly, 11 for Ocon. Let's get to the podium. That's not a bad weekend.
A great drive today from Max Verstappen.
Incredible. That was a really well-deserved win. They got their race strategy absolutely spot on.
We may see these kind of scenes a lot in Formula One, but it's easy to forget just what it means to the whole team. And no doubt, Verstappen fans will be celebrating the Dutchman's achievement.
4 superb wins to their name now this year, and it's been a pleasure watching them drive.
Red Bull dominance once again. Max Verstappen winning, 17 positions gained for Max Verstappen. You've just sometimes got to say, this man is a little bit special. Perez in P2, Russell P3, Lance Stroll gained 10 positions into P6, Gasly dropped 1 to P8 and Ocon dropped 3. Ocon was very, very unlucky with pit stops today, so our heart goes out to him for Esteban putting in another good performance in that Andretti Cadillac. And I do like this car, how it's shaping up. We are not far off these guys at the front. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen extends his lead. It's now up to 8 points over Checo Perez. The two Aston Martins sticking in there. Russell jumps a few positions into P6. Gasly is in P9 and Ocon stays in P12. Constructors standings wise, Red Bull extend their lead. It's now, God, how many points is that? 70 odd maybe to Aston Martin. Ferrari in P3. We're in P5. We extend our lead to Williams and McLaren. And we're trying to keep in touch with Mercedes, but they do just seem to have that little bit more over us at this moment in time. Hope you've enjoyed that. A wet Miami Grand Prix. No safety cars, interestingly. We're not going to look at the pit stop reports because that's going to be in the debrief. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Ta-ra!